So it looks like Gearbox is shifting. Ownership? We may need to take two on that. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and I'm embracing the gaming news. But you know who's no longer being embraced? Gearbox has been announced that they're being purchased from their current owner, the Embracer Group. But before we hop into the sale, let's talk about why this is happening. So if you're not familiar with who Gearbox is, they make some pretty popular games, but most people probably know them for making the Borderlands series. Now, they were purchased by the Embracer Group back in 2021 for $1.3 billion. And if you're not familiar with the Embracer Group, well, they embrace things, specifically gaming companies, with a lot of money. Then they buy them. At least that's what they were doing before they ran into financial troubles after some money they were expecting to get fell through, resulting in them doing layoffs and closing a bunch of studios, including Volition, the creators of Saints Row. So the rumor recently amongst the closures and layoffs was that they were looking to sell Gearbox, and it looks like that's true as Take-Two Interactive has announced that they're purchasing Gearbox for $460 million. And it includes all the IPs, so obviously Borderlands, as well as Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem. Now, 2K has been the publisher for the Borderlands games, and even after they were bought by Embracer, 2K still published those games. And 2K is also a Take-Two company, so they've already had that relationship with Take-Two, so it makes a lot of sense for them to acquire Gearbox. Take-Two has basically said that they're going to operate as a studio under 2K, so that's at least good news for Gearbox. Borderlands is a pretty popular franchise, so I feel like it made a lot of sense from a monetary standpoint for Embracer to sell the studio instead of trying to shut them down or do layoffs. The sale, however, doesn't include the publishing arm of Gearbox, so that could potentially be shut down. Unless Embracer wants to keep that open to publish games, they still have the right to publish some upcoming games, so we'll see if anything happens there. But Embracer Group isn't the only gaming company running into trouble. It looks like Nintendo is also doing some layoffs, so it's not too often Nintendo does layoffs, but the whole gaming industry is down right now revenue-wise, so it's not surprising. So Nintendo of America confirmed that they're laying off their contractors in their testing division. They didn't specify how many people were affected, but basically they're saying that they're doing a restructuring and they're going to be adding more full-time positions. On the other side of this, there are 4 contractors that were laid off that have come forward and are claiming that the testing department has slowed down since Nintendo doesn't have any major first-party titles in development, and they didn't get any hands-on time with any software from their upcoming system. They're also claiming that the layoff/restructuring may affect around 100 people, and they're claiming that the people being converted to full-time positions aren't going to be software testers. But again, those are claims from the contractors that were interviewed, not anything that Nintendo officially confirmed when they announced the layoffs. But hopefully these contractors can find work quickly, and if they're working for a contract company, they can be placed in other jobs. Now, when it comes to the aspect of Nintendo not working on any major games, that makes sense. There's nothing really big announced for the Switch, and it seems like the biggest first-party game this year is the new Princess Peach game that was just launched. We're basically at the end of this generation, the Switch generation, so obviously they want development of any major first-party titles to go to their upcoming system. And last time we covered the Switch 2 rumors, there were rumors that they delayed the Switch 2 to March of next year to build up their inventory and software library for the new system. So yeah, that part of it tracks for where they are right now with the Switch. Just like we're switching over to a place a lot of people hate to go to, and that's GameStop. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't like GameStop, but sometimes it's a necessary evil. Despite me not liking GameStop, it's a store that I would still like to exist, but that may not be the case for much longer. So GameStop has confirmed that they're cutting jobs as a result of revenue loss. GameStop made a total of $1.79 billion and a net income of $48.2 million for Q4 2023. In comparison to Q4 of the previous year, so 2022, they made $2.23 billion and a net income of $63.1 million. So it's a pretty big drop off in comparison to the quarter from the previous year. There's also speculation from an analyst that the revenue is going to continue to drop until the business is unsustainable, unless they can figure out a way to get people in the stores. He goes on to say that a lot of this is due to digital sales, which, yeah, it makes sense. They're a physical game store and a lot of people are buying digital now, but also just historically, they haven't been great to customers. I mean, I remember as a teenager, a wrestling game came out. And this was day one that it came out. I went to a GameStop to buy it and they refused to let me buy it because I didn't pre-order it, which just caused me to go to Walmart and buy it instead. And also a lot of times if you traded in games, the trade value was really low, and in some cases it didn't even make sense to trade in the games. Now, GameStop currently, at least in my area, isn't that bad anymore. The trade values still aren't great, but at least you could check it online now before you go to the store and waste your time. But aside from people transitioning to digital games, it's also people being pressured into pre-ordering and signing up for subscriptions, and overall just not being treated great. So I'm sure that factors into them not doing well. It's not like anybody is like, dang, I really miss going to GameStop. Let's go there and see what they have. It's more like, well, I used to have to go to GameStop, but now I don't have to because I get my games digital. Again, I don't want GameStop to go away, but if they do, they're partially responsible for their own downfall. And while we're on the topic of digital, Microsoft's digital Xbox Series X may be coming soon. So we talked a while ago about the X cylinder Series X plans that came out from the court documents when Microsoft had to go to court for the Activision deal. Of course, that console was a cylinder shape, which is not a box and it's supposed to be an Xbox. Anyway, it was supposed to have 2 terabytes of storage, be more efficient, and basically replace the current Series X. Well, Phil Spencer came out shortly after the documents leaked, and he was like, those are old plans and that stuff has changed. Well, now we have new rumors and alleged pictures of the digital Xbox Series X. Basically, it looks the same as the current Series X, except it's white and there's no slit for the disk drive. The rumor is that it's set to launch sometime this summer, either in June or July, and it'll be $50 to $100 cheaper than the current Series X. They could theoretically still discontinue the current Series X and offer some kind of add-on drive if you want to play disc, but none of the previous documents that leaked from the trial or the current rumors point to that. I'm also guessing if it's going to be cheaper, that they're probably going to keep the storage the same at 1 terabyte instead of the 2 terabyte like they had planned in the original Xbox Cylinder X or whatever they're going to call it. Anyway, if these rumors are true, we should find everything out relatively soon. But we're not done just yet talking about Xbox hardware, because they could be working on something a little more portable. And that's what we're talking about today. In our final story. So there have been some rumors kicking around that Microsoft could be working on an Xbox handheld. And we've had these type of rumors before and nothing has came of it. But it's come up again recently and Phil Spencer has been asked about it. So let's dive in to see what's going on. So the first rumor that came out is that Microsoft currently has prototypes for an Xbox handheld. This is according to Jez Corden, the managing editor for Windows Central. They claim that Microsoft has prototypes right now, and if it comes to market, it will be a fully native experience like the Steam Deck. So basically, it wouldn't be like the PlayStation Portal, like a streaming only, it would run games natively. The second part that are starting the rumors is an interview that Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, did recently, where he was asked about the Xbox handheld. So in the interview, he talks about his experience with the Lenovo Legion Go, some of the other Windows handhelds, and which the experience was better in that he would have something like an Xbox dashboard, but in handheld form. He also goes on to say that the Xbox hardware team is looking into other form factors that the Xbox could take. I'll also add that internally at Microsoft, they've been discussing making Windows in general more friendly to gaming handhelds and smaller form factors, which is someone who's been living with the ROG Ally. Yeah, they really need to get on that. But basically, the rumor is that they have prototypes and that Phil Spencer is talking a lot about handhelds and saying that their hardware team is looking into other form factors, and that's pointing to them possibly doing an Xbox handheld. Now, personally, I would be surprised if they made an Xbox handheld. I don't really feel like it's necessary because most of the first-party games are already on PC day and date, and they're playable on the current Windows handheld. So in my personal opinion, if they do a handheld, I could see them partnering with someone like Asus or Lenovo and launching an Xbox branded Windows handheld that uses an Xbox interface and still runs Windows under the hood, similar to something like SteamOS, but with the Xbox interface and Windows under it. Or if they do want to make their own hardware, then that device they make is just going to run this version of Windows that's more handheld friendly, and then they make that version of Windows available to other handhelds as well. I just don't think that a console like handheld makes sense right now because they would have to worry about getting third-party support, and they can barely get out first-party titles on the Xbox. I'm just being honest. So they would have to support this device and make games for it, whereas if they do a Windows handheld, they already have a built-in game library. All their games are already on Game Pass on PC, so to me, that would make the most sense. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that they would do a Windows-based handheld or actually make a portable Xbox? Again, let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing if you know if I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. We out.